Brighton Hove Albion lost Neil Maupay, Cucurella and Bissouma in the summer, and also lost Potter straight after it, going to Chelsea, with De Zerbi coming in. People would suggest that Brighton's this season will be a transitional one. However, as you can see from the table right here, they are currently sat in sixth spot, and the sky is the limit. So I thought I'd bring on a returning guest and a Brighton fan, Liam. I wasn't going to say your last name then, but how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. And it's always nice to speak about a team that's doing well, because usually on this channel and the knee-jerk reaction on YouTube is to talk about the poor inner side, the teams that are doing not so well, your Chelsea's, the list can go on essentially. But we'll speak about life after Potter and comparing it to the time beforehand, and obviously the worries that we had from the last video that we said. Do you think life has improved after Potter?
I think it probably has, actually, yeah. So obviously when we last spoke, we just brought in De Zerbi. I didn't know much about him. I don't think a lot of people did, really. But with the chairman we have, Tony Bloom, he's always got a plan. So I think every Brighton fan trusted whoever he was going to bring in. And we thought initially there would be a bit of a ramp-up period for De Zerbi, but pretty much from the off, we drew 3-3 with Liverpool at Anfield. We're actually 2-0 up within about 10 minutes. Probably should have won. And then I think the fans have just taken to him very quickly. He's a very passionate manager. The way he speaks and his antics on the touchline, I guess. Everyone seems to have moved on very quickly from Potter. And one thing that we didn't do very well under Potter was score goals. And I think I'm not sure if we're still top, but since he's come in, we've scored more goals than most teams in the league. We're right up there.
I'll show you the time. Sorry, I'll tell you the time. Like you say, you've scored a lot of goals, and you can, speak about each game if you want. Like, because you've scored 3, you've scored 2, you scored 4, you scored 3, you scored 2, and like you say, time under Potter was, and probably Chris Hughton before that, you couldn't score a goal. So what do you think's changed under?
I think it's just his tactics he's brought in, really. There's a very clear way of playing. He's got the best out of players like Solly March, who couldn't hit a barn door, to be honest, for 2 seasons. It was a bit of a running joke between Brighton fans, and he scored like 5 in 7 or 8, I think now. And obviously players like Matoma chipping in, Evan Ferguson coming through. And the way we play, it's just very attacking. They're getting a lot of players up in the box. We do concede a bit more than we used to, but that's because we're taking more risks, and every Brighton fan's loving it, to be honest. I think we've moved on from Potter very quickly, and everyone's sort of loving Roberto De Zerbi right now.
Everything seems to be going fantastically well with the recruitment, and not just coming in, but going out. Like, so Trossard left as well. Forget about that, going to Arsenal in the summer. You probably haven't. But likes of Caicedo, like we said before, I said it wrong, Caicedo is the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
And the rise of Matoma. And it's amazing, his story, isn't it? The fact that he went to university and did a dissertation on dribbling. It's insane to think that. I mean, he had a GoPro on him. That's at the time when he did his dissertation. What do you think that Caicedo? Do you think keeping him was the right move? And do you think he can progress further? And also, the rise of Matoma. Did you expect it?
Yeah. So on Caicedo, I think it's definitely the right decision to keep him. There's no Brighton fan was surprised by the interest in him. I think he was brought in. We bought him a year and a half or so ago, and then he went out on loan, and then we actually brought him back on loan last January. So he's only actually been playing for us for about a year. But as soon as he came in, everyone could see his quality, and we knew he was going to be a ready-made replacement for Bissouma when he left. So when the clubs were sort of sniffing around, it wasn't a surprise. But yeah, we just didn't want to lose him halfway through the season, really. And I know it was massive money that Arsenal and Chelsea were offering, but we're in a we probably won't be in this position many times in the future, maybe. So really challenging for Europe, and he is one of our most important players. So to lose him halfway through just didn't make sense. So late in the window, we wouldn't be able to get a replacement in, and we don't really have one in the squad already. So I'm pretty convinced he'll go in summer, maybe even for a little less money than we rejected. But I think every Brighton fan would take that if he was to help us get into Europe now.
Yeah, obviously, because the people, like I said before, Cucurella, what was that, 50 million? Bissouma was 25 million with only a year left on his contract. Trossard, how much was that? I forget. It was in
20, 25, 27 million or something.
And he was a player that didn't want to be there. So you're getting a massive amount of money for each and every player. And it's just everything seems to be progressing slightly. And I'm sure you'll have a Caicedo replacement in the wings from a random country, like we said it before. And I think we said it before, people were mentioning it. The creativity in recruitment is insane under Bloom and under even, the head of recruitment, whoever it is now, other than Paul Winstanley. I think that it just carries on, because I looked at the January transfers and it's just a bunch of players again from different, different places in the world. Before
we're bidding about 80 million for them in 2 years' time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it'd be good to see in Europe, because it's a new team essentially. But just before we go on to predictions for this season and in future, I'll blindside you slightly on a question. Is there anywhere that De Zerbi can improve in this squad right now?
Well, I think it's hard to say. I think he needs to get his own players in. So we had the January transfer window, and there was rumours that of players that he wanted and wasn't able to get. So I think when he has a full transfer window, full pre-season, I think, because obviously he's still got the old Potter squad now, which is exciting that he hasn't got any of his transfers in yet. So I think once that comes in, just to really sort of keep kicking on. I don't think there's anything we can really improve on at the moment. We're playing as good as if we're playing as good as we have done. Really, it's just be nice to start to keep some of our players. To be honest, that's the only thing I can think of. It's getting a bit tough. Just every transfer window, just seeing a new rumour pop up, and you're like, oh god, that's another one gone. So I think, like I said, Caicedo will probably leave. Obviously, we touched on Matoma. I think obviously there'll probably be top clubs looking at him. We've only had him not even a year yet. McAllister, obviously World Cup winner. I think clubs will be looking at him. It just seems to be a bit, it just seems to be never ending at the moment. So it'd just be nice to sort of keep a strong team together for a while and just see how far we can go and see if we can properly break into Europe.
Yeah, the only way I can relate is as a Rovers fan, I can only empathise with you. Selling to the bigger teams, we saw the likes of Rookie Santa Cruz, David Bentley. Obviously, they didn't work as well as what the Brighton players are doing right now. But every window, it was a worry that our best players would just be picked from the bigger teams. So hopefully, the train that you've got going forward, it'll stop these being picked off and in a massive hole being there. So we'll talk about the challenges for potentially the top four, potentially the top six. Where do you? I'll put the table up again. Where do you hope Brighton would finish the season, and where do you expect? Because obviously they're two different questions, aren't they? Essentially,
I think top four, unfortunately, will be too much. Obviously, that would be a complete dream, but anything in Europe would be amazing. Just top, even the Europa Conference League. I know it's a bit of more of a Mickey Mouse, but for us, it would be incredible. So I'd take seventh, to be honest. I think that's where the Conference League, you qualify for that. Obviously, Liverpool and Chelsea haven't had great seasons, so that's why it's a bit of an opportunity. You'd expect them to maybe turn it around a bit. Liverpool's obviously got a big win recently. Chelsea haven't been playing great, but you'd expect them to challenge more. And with Fulham and Brentford and Newcastle obviously having really strong seasons, it does make it tough. But I think we can finish seventh. I think I'd be very, very happy with that. We've had a great first half of the season, and we don't really look like we're having any blips at the moment. So I think if you offer me seventh now, Europa Conference League, European away days next year, I'd snap your hand off, to be honest.
It depends really when, because Man United play Newcastle in the final, don't they? And I think it depends who wins that one and the FA Cup, really, on where you can go as low as, really. I think, is it 8th and 9th now that the Conference League even gets to?
Yeah.
Looking in, I think that you'll definitely get it because the momentum's there. And like you say, Liverpool and Chelsea have been faltering a lot this season. So I think that you will. I hope that you get top four. I really do hope. It's just a bit of a change that Newcastle and yourselves and Fulham. It's just nice to see something different. One quick question to finish it, and then we'll end the video. Obviously, we talk about Europe. You've travelled a lot of countries. I know you have. Is there any stadium in particular that you'd like to visit with Brighton and Hove Albion?
Yeah, so I was having to think about this. I think I was trying to think realistically as well, because I originally thought Borussia Dortmund. I'd love to go to Borussia Dortmund and sort of see the yellow wall, but realistically, I think they'll make Champions League, so we won't. So that would be a bit of a dream. But if we're looking at realistically, I think if we were to maybe sneak in the Europa League, or if we were in the Conference League, I think AC Milan. I think the San Siro would be amazing. I know they're not having their best season, so they're not a shoe-in for the Champions League. They're probably looking at Europa League, maybe even the drop down to the Conference League. So yeah, AC Milan. I love Italy. So if I was to go a few days in Milan and then go to the San Siro to see Brighton in the AC Milan would be unbelievable.
10 years ago, hearing that sentence is insane.
Even saying it's just ridiculous.
It's crazy. And the smile on your face says it all this season. Brighton Hove Albion, hopefully we'll get Europe. But if you haven't already, please can you go and subscribe to the channel? Appreciate everything. Would you like to plug anything before we end?
Just Roberto De Zerbi.
Yeah, there we go. That's absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for everyone who's still listening. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Liam, for coming on and talking all things Brighton. I know it's easy right now when it's it's going so well, and hopefully we can have you on the podcast at some point in the next season as well. So if you haven't already, can you go subscribe to the channel? Please like and comment below, and we will see you all very, very soon. Cheers, guys. Peace.